Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, May the 13th, year 2020, show number 1254. I am your host, Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
And this is Your Mac Life. On tonight's show, as always, we'll talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com about pandemic profit. Apple made a remarkably large amount of money, considering we've been in lockdown for 3 months. We'll talk to Jim about that. He had a really funny little rant about Google and Google employees wanting to expense their food and stuff because they work from home, because it was stuff they got at work, and now they want it when they get home.
I've heard similar things from a colleague.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that to Jim, and maybe Melissa wants to weigh in on it too. We're also going to talk about WWDC. Apple has officially said that they will be doing a virtual WWDC, and all developers will be able to access. We'll talk to Jim about how he thinks that's going to work. And also, when do we start seeing normal again? We're starting to see bubblings up of people wanting to get back to normal, both in the States and here in our little community of Sunshine Coast. Some kids are going back to school in June, including here.
Some kids already are back.
Are they already back?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll talk about that. There was an article I posted in The Loop about air travel. When will air travel get back to normal, sooner rather than later? Some people in the airline industry say 5 years before we get back to the numbers of travelers that happened, say, January 1st, 2020.
I would agree with that. I don't even know if I ever want to go on a plane again.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility. It's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then in our starting point photography segment, we're talking about shooting in black and white. Love shooting in black and white, but it's very specific. You have to do very specific things to shoot in black and white, and we'll talk about that after the Jim segment. So we didn't do a show last week, and it was all her fault because of her idiotic submarine stegosaurus. Idiopathic subglottal stenosis.
Glottis, but they're very good, Shawn.
What'd I say?
Glottal.
Oh, glottal. Okay. Yay! Melissa got it not fixed. Explain what happened.
They just went, he just went in and, as far as I know, I was asleep.
You were unconscious.
But I knew he wouldn't use laser. He wasn't going to be cutting.
Now, why didn't they use laser? You mentioned
They're
that.
just, they were told not to use lasers in any capacity
The
because of
hospital in general.
airborne.
Yeah,
I guess laser creates an airborne. I'm not. Yeah, like what's the word I'm thinking of? Particles or something, and it could potentially carry the virus or something. Anyways, so
you found out on Thursday that this was going to be happening, and then we were told to come in on Tuesday. Now, for those folks who remember, we live on a virtual island. We have to catch a boat to get into the big city. And so we hop on the boat and go to the big city. And how nervous were you on a scale of 1 to 10?
I don't know.
Because you've had the procedure before. So was that kind of scary?
Well, I was frightened. One of the questions they asked, I just want to answer, Dave. I don't know if it's aerosol. Perhaps, Dave. Aerosol.
Particleized?
I was nervous mostly because I didn't know, just with all the COVID-19 and what's going to happen and what's this going to look like. And
so were you more nervous about the COVID-19 than you were about the procedure?
I can't say. I don't know.
I was, because if, the old joke, and it's not very much of a joke, the deadliest place in the world is the hospital. That's where all the sick people are. That's where all the people but we were lucky and unlucky in the sense that the hospital, I don't know, describe it properly, didn't seem to be really organized. Like, for example, they had signs that say, no visitors, and other signs that right next to that sign said, visitors allowed. We were very confused. But we were told no visitors, and yet I figured I was going to walk Melissa as far as I could until someone told me I couldn't go any further, and no one did. I got all the way up to the ward, the 9th floor of the hospital.
Well, I mean, so did I, though. I didn't.
True,
I didn't. Yeah. No one knew that I didn't have COVID, and we were on the hospital ward. That's interesting. DH says lasers vaporize tissue cells, which are high in water, so smoke. Interesting. So maybe that was it. But when I would have been getting the laser, they would know I hadn't had COVID because they.
And how would they know you didn't have COVID?
Because they swabbed me for COVID, and then no one Shawn left. He wasn't allowed to be there anymore. And then I was just surrounded by hospital staff who were heavily masked and all that stuff.
Now, she says swabbed. When you think of being swabbed, think of a gentle Q-tip, maybe on your cheeks or on your inside of your gums, or maybe just gently tickling your nostrils. No! That's not what happened. Oh, dear Lord. If you folks are watching the video, this is what happened to poor Melissa. She was swabbed.
I had a partial lobotomy.
They penetrated her brain. Oh, dear God, the length of that swab was obscene. And you just sat there. How did you do that?
Because what was I going to do?
Scream, yell, punch, just something.
No, I don't. Why? Anyways.
That was just, I don't know how you sat there so I mean, you went to grab for it, which is a natural
Well, it was
instinct.
a reflex. Mm-hmm. And then neurologically, I wonder about this because you know how sometimes you can touch certain areas of even your body and other things happen. But I actually, this isn't very flattering, but I was starting to drool. I was drooling. I was so, you're a sort of a person with all of your capacities and you don't want to drool. So I was drooling. That's when one hand goes up in the video, I'm just blocking all the drool. And that was uncontrollable.
Really?
Yeah, just on that one side because she went up my right nostril, and so it was all on that side. It was there must have been somewhere in there that it activated that or something.
And then you said you still felt it like 7 hours later.
Oh, you could. It was wild. Yeah. I said to the nurses, I'd rather give birth than do that. At least you get a sweet smelling baby at the end.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was wild.
They literally would have had to find the 4 biggest guys in the hospital and hold me down. There's no way I could have sat through that. I am just so amazed by you.
It was
absolutely
horrible.
Amazed.
But it came back negative.
Yes, well, there's that.
So I suppose if I had been positive, I don't know, they would have put me into quarantine. But anyways, I ended up, it was fine. And
actually, I mean, think about that. If you had been positive, you would have called me and said...
all of us, we would have all had to have been in a quarantine situation.
Absolutely, yeah. Whole family. Mm-hmm. Thank God that didn't have to happen.
And then I guess you'd go backwards and think about, oh my God, we had to catch the ferry. Anyway, it was a whole ordeal. But it was negative, so that was good. And I will never, ever have that ever again, as long as I live.
The amazing part for me was that you went through that nasal ordeal with grace and style and calmness that I never would have had. And then lost your shit for the next 24 hours because you were so grumpy about being stuck in that room.
Well, I'm terrible. Like I'm
I
was stuck. Like I was, but then I was blessed. I had a beautiful western view over the stunning city of Vancouver. I had a room to myself. I had my own bathroom, my own everything. I had a beautiful, beautiful, lovely nurses. I was unfortunately massacred when they tried to get IV sites. Like
put it in front of your microphone.
I was just.
Can you turn your wrist more?
Anyways, I'm just covered. Like these are getting a bit better, covered, and they could not get a vein, but truly, I mean, we're so blessed. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, thank God I live in Canada. I am so lucky. So lucky. I mean, nothing. I mean, I left there, nothing.
No one asked for a credit card. No one asked for nothing.
Just sign here, please, just to know that all of your MSP will be covering this. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're so blessed.
I would guesstimate that would be that was 36 hours in the hospital. Probably cost about $35,000 US.
And the thing is, you know, our dear American friends is this is a repeated thing for mostly women. So you're getting this. Some women are getting dilations multiple times a year, and I'm on a very incredible Facebook group, and they're going. I mean, what are they going to do? They have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars every time, and this is to breathe, people.
Yeah.
This is an essential surgery, and I think. With that, you would be driving onto the ferry thinking, how am I going to pay for this?
Yeah.
How am I going to pay for this? I just cannot imagine.
Yeah, it's elective surgery, but it's also completely unelective in that if you don't have it after a certain point, your throat closes.
Oh, yeah. My throat was extremely closed. So, yeah, no, it's done now, and it's done.
It's funny, I can certainly hear a difference in my headphones from the point of view of because the microphones amplify everything.
Oh.
I could really hear you breathing before when we were calling you Darla Vader.
Oh, yeah, no, my breath is.
And now it's fairly normal.
Yeah.
So, which is good.
Yeah. So thank you for all the well wishes. And
Dave D sound a lot better here too.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I mean, I was significantly closed, and I mean, I can actually when I could be more aware and more cognitive of what was going on in the car and coming home and everything. My trachea felt like a cavern. It felt like someone had taken it. It was too open. It felt like you know, very odd, like a whole wind tunnel whenever I took a breath. Anyway.
So that's the good news of the week. The bad news of the week is that we had a loss in the family. I'm here to sadly report that, well, I can show you the loss. One of my poor beloved penguins fell victim to Bruno. You can't see it very well, but he's got one less flipper. His headphones have been torn off. This thing is filthy now, but you got to admit, the silly dog had far too much fun playing with this thing. This is his new favorite toy. He runs all over the yard with this thing in his mouth, playing with it, tripping over it. So I think I'm okay with giving up a penguin.
He does love it.
Well, I guess you don't feel guilty anymore, do you?
Days to get used to it.
Did.
He wasn't sure. He kind of looked at it, and then he suddenly decided that he really loved it.
This was now his new favorite, and he didn't destroy it as much as we thought he was going to.
No, it's still not destroyed.
It's got one flipper that's kind of damaged, one flipper that's kind of hanging off, but otherwise, the silly dog is having a lot of fun with that thing. Later on the show, we're going to be talking about how to shoot in black and white, what to look for, what's best to shoot in black and white. But then up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com about pandemic profits and a bunch of other things. All that and much more.
And we have a question.
We have a question, and we also have a contest. The nice folks at Nomad are giving us a $100 gift certificate to give away to you guys for Father's Day. We'll talk more about those contest details later on in the show. We have a question from who?
Scott Randall.
Scott Randall has a question for Melissa that she will ask for me on Scott's behalf. But yeah, all that and much more coming up just later on the show. So stay tuned. This is Your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life. Thank you guys very much for joining me here this Wednesday evening. As always, on our phone, we've got our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Shawn. How are you?
Not too bad. Been a couple weeks, so we got a lot of things to talk about, so let's jump right into it. First thing was Apple announcing what I'm going to call their pandemic profits. Were you surprised at the sales numbers that Apple provided to us, given the fact they were shut down for almost the entire quarter?
They grew by 1%.
How the hell did they? Everyone on Wall Street just went, "Oh, screw this." We don't have a clue what's going on.
I mean, how do you grow by 1% when you were shut down for the majority of the quarter? I mean, it's crazy.
It can't be an easy thing to do. I mean, I guess one of the advantages Apple has is the nature of the company, of the fact that it has a very, very good online sales channel. It's got a good website for buying things. It's fairly easy to buy things off the Apple website. Shipping is pretty quick. The interesting thing to me is Apple knows how much sales they do online versus the store. They're never going to tell us, but they know those numbers. So they could probably pretty easily predict that they'd have to ramp up by that percentage and sell. Plus they announce products in the middle of a pandemic, and according to some people online, they announced those products for the pandemic, which is pretty remarkable.
Well, I mean, overall, if you look at the financials, I can tell you when I read the release on what they did, and they were up by 1%. I basically stopped right there.
That's right.
What? Because I expected them to be down.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me, like every other company on the face of the earth.
That's right.
And you're up by 1%. Yeah. I mean, sure. Some of their product sales were up.
Yeah.
And of course, services is a big thing for them right now, and that's way up.
All-time record in services and quarterly record for wearables.
Yep. I mean, and just think where they would have been.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it's scary to think where they would have been.
And therefore, where they're going to be too. I mean, there's no reason to believe that if you couldn't get an Apple product in the past 3 months, you then switch to using an Android phone, or using Sony earbuds or those kind of things. You just waited. You'll wait patiently until they're available or until the next cycle or whatever it might be. Those are, for the most part, I think most Apple customers will stay Apple customers. You know what I mean? If you want earpods, you're not going to go, "Oh, I can't get them. I'll buy Sony's or some Bose or some other companies." Do you think that's true?
I think that is true. I mean, if I was in a situation now where I needed a new set of AirPods Pro, would I go to, and let's say they weren't available for a month.
Yeah.
I'd just wait it out.
Yeah.
I'd put in my order and wait it out.
Yep.
I'm not. I mean, my feeling on Beats. They suck. So I'm not going to get that. I don't really know of any other company that I would be willing to go out and get something besides the AirPods Pro.
Yeah.
Except, and I mentioned this before, Futuresonics, but those are high-end, audio, ear monitors. They are the best in the world. But the convenience of AirPods Pro for what you get. Yeah, I'm not getting a substitute for that because I don't think that there is a substitute.
Agreed. Yeah, I think Apple's got a unique advantage in that regard, that they can do that. They can make sure that just all they have to do is hold on to those customers with good products at a fair price, and those customers are going to come back. As long as you don't screw them over, as long as you don't disappoint them with price or quality or that kind of thing, they're going to keep coming back. I remember seeing one study at one point said 97% of iPhone customers buy another iPhone. Apple has very little what they call churn in the industry. Everything else, I don't know. I can't tell you before the iPhone came along how many different brands of earphones or earpods or headphones did you go through? I mean, I bought one of everything.
Yeah, and not only that, don't forget the Bluetooth headset to talk on your phone.
Yep.
I mean, how many of those did you go through?
I went through Jabras and everyone's.
Yeah, everything. I went through everything. And, now we don't have to go through everything. Now you have the AirPods Pro. That's what I'm talking to you on right now.
Yep.
I mean, 2 minutes before the scheduled time, I put the AirPods Pro in, and I waited for your call. I considered when you did call whether I should answer, like I do every week.
Is this a good idea? Am I making the right choices?
So it's one of these things where the AirPods Pro not only took over the Bluetooth market, it took over for a lot of people, and we can go back to even earpods for that matter. Because you could, it had the microphone built in and stuff like that. But they took over so many different markets because they owned everything. And this has been a big thing for Apple for forever. They own everything. Yep. They own the software. They own the hardware. I mean, how easy is it to hook up a set of AirPods Pro on your iPhone? You go through the setup, but then it's on your Apple TV. It's on your iPad.
Yep.
It's on your Mac. It's on everything automatically. So I often when Erica is sometimes I can't sleep, I get up. I don't want to turn the TV on loud out in the living room because it's right beside the bedroom. Yeah. I'll turn on my Apple TV and put in my AirPods, and there you go. There's no noise, and it's just automatic. They're there. It's brilliant. Love that. I mean, that's one of the things that other companies just can't do.
Yeah. I would love to have seen the look on Tim Cook's face as Luca Mastriani, the CFO of Apple, gave him this information. Tim was just giddy as a schoolgirl, because that's a remarkable feat to be able to make money in the middle of a worldwide pandemic and not do it in any kind of illicit or sleazy or price gouging. You know what I mean? Not do it in any kind of way that's dishonest. They actually gave money away in the sense that they were helping build masks and helping other people do various things, donated $10 million to America's Food Fund and things like that. So it's got to make everyone at Apple hopefully feel very good and very proud of the fact that they were able to still keep on track and keep moving forward, even though the situation is incredibly difficult for everybody.
Well, and it's one of those things that, I think this is where, all the work that Apple's done in previous quarters and previous years, it's times like this that comes back for them. Because people say, I can't go to my local Apple store and pick this up. Can I order it online?
Yep.
And they'll still buy it, because it's Apple. They're still going to do it.
The company recorded a quarterly revenue of $58 billion, increase of 1% from the year ago, and quarterly earnings per share of $2.55, up 4%. There's just, I went out and walked the dog during that. I know, you know what? It's just going to be doom and gloom. I can't be bothered. I came home, started scrolling through Twitter, and was like, what? What the hell? What kind of accounting voodoo do they do in order to fudge these numbers this way? And then you look at the charts that Jason Snell puts together every quarter. You look at the charts, you go, no, Jesus, they actually sold shit. They didn't have to move money around into a triple Dutch Irish account or anything else like that. They sold shit.
A lot of it.
A lot of it. It's amazing. Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
The other in more news, Apple news this week. Apple to reopen some stores in the U.S. starting next week. This was posted by you last Friday, so it's this week they're going to start opening up stores. As you said, it will be methodical reopening in a few stores. We talked about this on last week's show. Do you feel any better, less inclined to go to an Apple store or not after hearing what Apple's going to do?
Well, look, I mean, Apple's going to do this based on local guidance.
Yes.
You know, so they're not being like Elon Musk. You know,
Jesus, what a jerk.
So they're not doing that. They're basing all of their decisions on local guidance.
Yep.
And whether that's county or governors or whatever. So, you know, there are clearly some people who want to reopen, and maybe, you know, that's what they're looking at. But I think local guidance is the best way to go, whether local is state or county.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's rumors in California that this shelter in place is going to last quite a while longer.
Yeah.
Even beyond the May 31st deadline. So,
but does that make you any more comfortable, feel better about doing this? Would you go to an Apple store?
Well, I go to a grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. You know, there are so many other ways to get product now.
Yep.
Again, if I could go on to the Apple online store and get something delivered, I may just do that.
Yeah.
And you know, here in the Bay Area, I ordered a hard drive that I needed as soon as possible, and they delivered it in an hour.
Really?
I ordered Jesus. It, and it was here. So I actually couldn't have driven to Stamford and picked it up and drove home any quicker than what it was delivered.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, you know, I mean, and this is, I realize that the Bay Area is kind of an anomaly, you know, because they have all this stuff. But yeah, driver picked it up at the Apple store. I paid for it on my app on my iPhone. You know, like a 5 terabyte drive, and hour later it was here, done. So, you know, I have a lot of different options. So, would I go to an Apple store? You know, at this point, I just like to get out, you know, drive somewhere.
Yeah.
See that there are other people in this world, not just my backyard.
Yeah, for me personally, I would not. There's no reason for me to go to an Apple store. There's anything you want to buy from Apple, I can order online. The only reason to go would be because of an issue with the Genius Bar, and in that case, even then, it'd pretty much have to be this iMac I'm looking at right now broke, and I have to carry the iMac into the store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I had a pair of broken earpods, no, I wouldn't go in. I'd wait. You know, if I had a minor issue, I think I'm pretty sure I'd wait. I wouldn't go in any store like that. Same with we see that in the States. The restaurants are opening up now. Would you go to a restaurant?
You know, no, probably not. I mean, I'm doing just fine cooking. You know, so
how about your favorite pub?
Well, they're not going to be able to open. Even if the restaurants do open, my pub is not going to open. Yeah. So, you know, do I really feel the need to go out to dinner that badly?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's the
I
key.
don't.
How badly do you want it? Do you want to literally risk your life to go get a restaurant meal? No, thank you.
No, I just don't. But you know, would I love to go to my favorite pub?
Yeah.
And do this podcast from there out in the parking lot?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, I would. But Am I going to be able to do that anytime soon? No.
Are you
So,
surprised by the number of people who are willing to risk whatever percentage it might be, 1%, 90%, whatever it might be? Are you surprised the number of people, in particular, we see it in the States, who are protesting and are demanding that things open up?
well, yeah, I am, because there are, places around the world that have opened up and are now closing back down
Yep.
because cases have gone up again.
Yeah, that's right.
And if places, no matter where they are, if it's in a different country or if it's in a state in the United States, if they open up and cases keep going up, then they get a spike. What are they going to do then?
Yeah.
Then they have to shut it all down again, or just let the people die.
Yep, that's right.
So I go to the grocery store and I go to the pharmacy to get my meds, and that's it. I don't go anywhere else. I'm here.
And unfortunately, there are far too many people who seem to be okay with whatever percentage of people dying. That
Yes.
and that's not right. There's no under no circumstance. I don't care whether it's a socioeconomic thing, an age thing. It doesn't matter. There's no reason for anyone to die over this. There's no reason anyone to die just because you need a haircut. Do it yourself. I've been doing it myself for 26 years. Look how good looking I am. I mean, come on. Jim doesn't even bother. Look how good looking he is. Come on. It's not rocket science.
I do my own too.
Exactly.
So I've got the clipper, and I go and I do it.
I actually haven't shaved my head in probably about a month and a half, just because, no reason. But Melissa and I went out for a walk yesterday, and I realized I had to shave my hair, or cut my hair soon, because my head was tickling. The wind was blowing my hair, and it was tickling. It was the first
my God! I need a picture.
It was the first time I'd had my hair tickled in like 26 years.
I want you to grow it out for the entire time that we're quarantined. I want you to grow it out. That is my wish. That is my command. Grow it out.
No, I just have a big gray afro, dude. I don't need that.
I want that.
No,
I want to see that.
No chance. It's already completely gray now. It's about half an inch high. My hair doesn't grow long; it grows high, and it's all gray. And I already look old enough. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it.
So it grows high like buckwheat, or what?
Oh yeah. Oh no. It's my hair will not grow down below my collar, but it'll go 8 inches high. I look like a fucking chia pet. Okay. Have you not seen the picture of me in high school?
No.
Oh God, I'll have to send you that picture. No, I had an 8-inch high afro in high school.
Come on.
No, seriously. I will after the show. I can't do it now. I'm a little freaking busy.
All right. But afterwards, you gotta send me that.
Moving on, Apple announced officially that they're going to be hosting a virtual worldwide developers conference starting on June 22nd, laying to rest any thoughts of maybe they would do something that would be live. We knew they wouldn't, but some people thought they might. Are you a registered developer, Jim?
I am.
So they're going to obviously do the keynote the same way they always do the keynote. I take that back. Do you think there will be a keynote?
Absolutely. There has to be a keynote.
And the keynote will probably be virtual from the point of view of won't anyone be in the audience. It may be probably pre-recorded with a lot of bits thrown in, a lot of post-production bits thrown in there. And then, and we'll all be able to watch that. We'll all be able to watch the WWDC virtual keynote. Then it goes into the lab part of things and the question and answer. Will you go to any of those?
So, the State of the Union is always very interesting.
Yeah.
Which is basically the State of the Union.
That's not the keynote, folks. It's a whole other thing.
No.
The State of the Union.
Yeah. So you have the keynote, which is basically for the public. And the State of the Union is more for the developers. Like, this is where we are, and this is where we're going.
Yep.
And, here are some details on that for you.
Yeah.
And that's not for the public. So, the State of the Union is always kind of interesting because you get an idea of what's going on. But um, the actual sessions are way over my head.
Yeah, yeah.
So um, so there's a lot of those that most of those that I wouldn't attend. But it's going to be interesting to see how they do the
Yeah,
labs. Are they
yeah,
gonna
exactly.
Is it going to be over FaceTime
Yep.
where you can share, your screen and talk to the engineers?
The problem
You
is FaceTime isn't good enough for this.
well,
There's no way Apple could do this over FaceTime. I think this is going to come as a surprise to a lot of people, but fake group FaceTime sucks.
well,
There's no
okay,
way
but
Apple. There's going to be upwards of at least 5,000 developers, at least 100 to 200 in each individual one of these sessions
oh no
online.
no 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 no! You're misunderstanding. The labs are one-on-one.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I was talking about sessions.
Yeah, so the sessions won't be done over FaceTime. The sessions, I think, will be pre-recorded
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
So the labs are one-on-one.
Yeah.
So you could do a one-on-one thing where you can share your screen and say to the engineer exactly the same way as you would if you were at WWDC in person
Yeah.
and had a lab appointment with Core Audio. You're making a new audio app, and this is screwing up. Well, you can just share your screen with your code in it with the Apple engineer and say, here's the problem I'm running into. What do I do? And that's what the labs are basically for, is to sit down with the guys who made this code and made this technology, so that they can help developers get to the right place that they need their apps to be. So I don't envision any kind of live sessions. I envision, and maybe I'm wrong, but I envision pre-recorded sessions. Because there's no real Q&A in sessions. It's people talking about these APIs for this technology,
Yep.
or whatever. Pre-recorded, it's video, and you log into your account or developer account or whatever, and you watch them.
Yep.
So that's what I envision. The one-on-ones, or maybe it's even 1-on-2 or 3, because you have engineers from a company that are talking to the Apple engineers.
Yep.
That's the one-on-one aspect of the labs. That's what I envision. Maybe they'll do something else. I don't know, but that's how I see it.
I think Apple's got a huge advantage here too, in that they've got lots of notice ahead of time, and this is the way they're going to do it. They're going to pre-record a bunch of stuff. They've done this in the past because every WWDC session is already recorded for those developers who can't make it in person. So they're just going to keep doing that. I can't see
No,
their...
no, they're not. No, they're not.
What?
They're not pre-recorded for the developers that don't have a ticket.
No, I'm saying that these ones will be pre-recorded.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay.
No, in the past they haven't been, but they're going to pre-record for this WWDC as much as they can to get everything up all as soon as possible. And
I would think, yeah.
Now that being said, do you think this will continue in 2022?
No.
Will Apple do another virtual WWDC in 2022?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't think that there'll be any need to do that.
Yeah, but it'll save the company money. It'll save them time. It'll
come on.
What? Come on, what?
What do they have? Like $200 billion in the bank? Apple's not worried about the money. Apple is worried about attracting even more developers, the smartest people in the world, to make apps for their platforms. And there are a lot of different platforms, but whatever that platform is, they want those people.
Yeah.
So WWDC is the way to do that. I mean, they are going to have more live WDCs. And I get that, the way that things are going right now and the way that companies are doing business, like movie studios releasing movies, what was that? Trolls made like
Yeah.
$100 million.
Yep.
Well, but it's great now where people can't go out. But, would people pay for that under normal circumstances? Maybe. Maybe they don't need the movie theaters anymore.
That's a good question. I mean, if
I mean, and the movie theaters already threatened them
Yep.
and said we're not going to do this. Well, okay. So if I were the company that released Troll, I'd just say, okay, well, we'll just release it. It's streaming.
Yep.
Screw you. Clearly, people want to buy it, and people will buy it. So think about this. The movie studios or the movie theaters are saying, well, we'll never show another one of your films in our theaters.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can charge, how much are a movie, to buy a movie these days on iTunes? I haven't bought a movie, so I don't know. Like
anywhere from $10 to $20.
Okay, so $10 to $20. Let's say you're a family of four, cost you $10 each to get into a movie theater, plus $3,000 for popcorn.
Yep.
Would you rather just, do the kids care that they're going to a theater? No, they just want to see the movie.
Yep, that's right.
So you can buy it for $20 and have it, and you can keep watching it for as long as you want. You own it. Well, I don't think that the movie theaters have a leg to stand on here.
They absolutely don't. They're going to have to do something to convince the theaters that they're the best place to put first run movies. Now, there are some movies, I think, that have to be seen in a theater. The Star Wars movies.
James Bond.
Exactly. What they call the tentpole movies, the big summer blockbusters. But those are, 10 movies a year, maybe, in the summertime?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe not even that.
Maybe not even that, depending on the year. There's all kinds of movies that we don't go to that we now sit and wait to come to Apple TV, to come to Disney Plus, to come to Netflix, to Hulu, to Amazon. We don't need to see it in the theaters.
So my tentpole movies are anything Jennifer Garner's in.
What was that awful superhero movie she was in? The female superhero.
I don't even care.
It was Daredevil and crap, I've forgotten. It was freaking awful. It was just painful. But there are some movies you have to see, but the vast majority of movies, if only because the movie experience, and this is part of the problem of the movie theaters themselves, the movie going experience is nowhere near as fun as it used to be when we were kids or even young adults. Because
I think that's the age thing too. I mean,
partially, certainly, but it's also the prices have gone up so frickin' much. Like you said, for a family of four, it's $100 evening.
Oh, it's more. I would think it's more than that, wouldn't it be? Well, I suppose, yeah, $100 evening, as long as you have small kids.
So that $100 is better spent other places. And the other thing is too, for us here, because we live in the boondocks, we don't see first run movies until a month or 2 months after they've been in theaters anyway. So it's no big deal for us to wait another month or two for it to show up on Netflix.
Let's be honest. You live in Canada. You're just getting Star Wars now, and that was released in 1976 or something like that. So come on.
But yeah, we definitely get movies so late in the cycle that I've already heard everything about it. I know whether I want to see it or not, and I'm perfectly okay waiting for it to show up on net. Because the other thing is, you go to the movie theater and you got to sit there with quite often yahoos are going to talk or on their phone or they're just going to piss me off in general. Whereas if that happens here in my home, in my bedroom, I just elbow my wife and tell her to shut up.
Wait, she actually sleeps with you? Jeez.
Well, no, just to watch movies. She has her own.
Okay, yeah, no, all right.
But yeah,
I mean, so here, and I don't know if this is in other areas, but here in the Bay Area, we have a theater that has very few seats, but they're all reclining seats.
Yeah.
And they're big, cushy chairs. Well, I go to a movie and I fall asleep. You know? Yeah.
Because you're old, you know.
Jeez, you know. But I did go to a movie theater in Texas where they have not only the reclining seats, but they have beer service, like liquor service,
and
to
food,
your chair.
And food. Yep.
To your chair. So I was like in fucking heaven. I mean, you know, wait, I'm going to watch this movie and you're going to bring me beer?
The problem is you got to go to the bathroom.
Well, that is true. But, you know, you just go to a movie that you don't like if you just need to get out, and then, you know, you just drink beer and eat. And yeah, we had like nachos and beer, and I don't see. Perfect example. I don't even know what movie we saw.
I think that's what movie theaters are going to have to do. They're going to have to cater to that kind of environment and that kind of crowd, because as long as the cinemas can get away with doing it the way they're doing it now.
Just say it.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh.
Are you getting in trouble, Jim?
Yeah. You know, I could be.
What am I the cause of that trouble?
No. She said
Damn it.
She said Bohemian Rhapsody was the movie that we watched.
Oh, okay. That long? Wait a minute. What? Oh, sorry. I'm thinking the movie just did last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what movie theaters are going to have to do, is they're going to have to start catering to that crowd, because the experience has gotten so bad to me. The last time I went to a movie in a theater, even here in our little small town, was a year and a half ago when the second to last Star Wars came out. That's how long it's been since I've gone to a movie theater. And I used to love going to movie theaters. So
yeah, I don't even know when I went to a movie theater. But you know, this movie theater that we have with the reclining chairs is really, really good, except I fall asleep.
Yep.
You know, I mean, yeah.
It's funny. The other story, very similar to this, that I posted on The Loop, air travel is going to be very, very bad for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Is there anything that can get you on a plane? United Airlines just announced yesterday. That was the funniest thing in the world. That they're going to leave it up to the passengers to decide whether or not they want to practice social distancing on the plane. So what's going to happen is you're going to get to the gate. This is what they said. You're going to get to the gate. They're going to tell you whether the flight is 70% full or not, and then you can decide whether or not you want to get on that plane. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Depending on where you live, if we were in Connecticut, that's a 2-hour trip from Connecticut to LaGuardia or to Newark or to JFK, and that's when you want me to decide whether I'm going to get on your freaking plane?
Yeah. Just, you know what? Just inject me with the coronavirus now and be done with it.
What they got to do is just don't sell so many frickin' seats, airlines. It's not rocket science. You're already flying with empty planes.
How long have they been doing that, though?
Well, in order to get the bailout money that the government offered, a couple months ago, airlines had to promise to keep flying on many routes. So there's a lot of routes that are flying with just a cabin crew. Like there's no one on the plane. They're flying it just for the sake of flying it. So
I didn't know that.
So I can't see me getting on a plane for at least 6 months, even if then. If Melissa and I have talked about this, if we saw a ridiculously good deal to fly to Australia for Christmas this year, we might do it. But even then, we'd fly in gloves and masks and separate seating areas and that kind of stuff. But just for a pleasure flight, otherwise, I'm thinking it's going to be a year before a lot of people. But the people in the article said up to 5 years before air travel gets back to what they expected to be, what it was January 1st, 2020. Well, what would get you on a plane?
Honestly, as dismal as this seems, probably a death in the family.
That's right. Yep.
And
even then, I'd be pissed at them.
Yeah. other than that, I can't see that there's anything that would get me
Yep.
anywhere near a plane. But we're in the situation where we really don't need to. I mean,
Yeah.
is all the shit? Is it bad? Yeah, it is. Does it suck to be sheltered in place? Yeah, but it sucks to die
Yeah,
too.
that's right.
But if there was something that happened in the family, then I would take that risk.
I saw a deal for $800 Canadian from Vancouver to Dublin, Ireland for 5 days, airfare, flight, and rental car included.
Well, except that you can't actually do anything when you get to Dublin.
Well, I'd still be in Dublin. There'd be places to go and things to see in Dublin.
No, you can't do anything. You're sheltered in place.
Yeah, I get in a car and drive somewhere. But the interesting thing about that, the deal was if you bought the ticket now, it was good until April of next year, and you could cancel at any time with no penalty. That's a real tempting deal.
Yeah,
that's a very tempting deal, and that's what they're going to do. That's what the airline and travel agents and hotels, all these guys are going to do is they're going to give you all kinds of just really, really tempting deals over the next 3 months that says basically book now, give us your money now, and we'll let you cancel in 6 months or a year if things don't get better.
Yeah, that worked for Ticketmaster.
Yeah. Yeah. We're real good for them. Jeez. You got any questions for me?
I do.
All right, fire away.
So we talked before about the Magic Keyboard and the iPad.
Yes.
Is there a situation that you can see yourself taking pictures with the iPad as opposed to an iPhone or your camera?
No.
So I know your camera is a totally different thing. So actually, let's leave that out. Would you take pictures with your iPad?
No.
Why?
I can't think of a situation where I would have my iPad but not my iPhone with me. And that being said, the iPhone is easier to take pictures with. It just the form factor is less bulky than an iPad. I don't see any problem with shooting with an iPad. The camera quality, obviously, on the iPhone 11 Pro XR Max Super Duper lenses is better than on any iPad. So there's that. But even if they were the same, physically it's easier to take a photo with an iPhone than it is with an iPad. So there's no situation where my iPad would be closer to me than my iPhone. You know what I mean?
Okay. What about... Okay, go ahead.
MacMan says, anyone using an iPad to take photos, video, looks like a complete and utter tool. Yeah, maybe, but I don't mind. Take pictures with whatever camera you want to take pictures with. I don't care if you're using an iPad. I don't judge. Take good pictures.
So part B of that question, let's say that you took a picture on your iPhone and all you had with you was an iPhone and an iPad. Would you edit that picture on the iPhone or the iPad?
I would edit it on the iPad. Just because it's the software that I would use is better tuned to... Okay, let's first of all, when I talk to people photography, I always ask them, where's your photo going to be? You work backwards. If it's a photo that's just going to go on Instagram, just going to go on Twitter, I will use Snapseed on my iPhone and send it immediately. If it's a shot that I want to do a lot of...
Wait. Why would you use something like Snapseed to send it immediately when you can send it on Twitter through the Apple apps?
Because the Snapseed has better editing controls than the native camera.
So you are going to edit it on your phone?
Depending on where it's going, that's what I'll do.
But you just said if you were going to post it to Twitter, you would use Snapseed.
Yes.
So you're editing something on your phone.
Yes.
what would you do on your phone to edit that picture in Snapseed?
Snapseed is the editing application I'm talking about.
I understand that, but what would you do to the photo before you uploaded it? Why wouldn't you just snap a pic, go to Photos app, and upload it to Twitter? That's what I do.
Because it depends on what I want to do to the photo. If it's just if I know the photo is fairly well composed and lit,
like
just
mine.
The way it is, like your beautiful images that you create all the time.
Yeah.
If it was just that kind of photo that I just wanted to quickly post to show people what I was doing or where I was, then yeah, I would use Snapseed on the iPhone and then send it to Twitter. If it was a photo that I wanted to use for one of my classes, or I wanted to do something specific to it, Photoshop, Snapseed has got a really good vignetting and a glamour glow and grunge and a whole bunch of fun little interesting filters to it that are easier to see and use on a bigger screen like the iPad than it is on the iPhone. So if I wanted to get really, really artistic with the photo, I'll use Snapseed on the iPad. If it's just I want to do a couple of touch-ups, I'll use Snapseed on the iPhone and send it right away. That make sense?
And well, yeah, it does. But what you brought up something that I actually had planned on asking you next week, so I'm going to save it because I think that you just contradicted yourself badly.
How can I contradict myself? How is that a contradiction?
I'm gonna call you out on it next week.
Fine.
So remind me.
Stay tuned.
Because I just
Oh dear.
I think like you're peddling shit right now.
Have you signed up or listened to Gruber's new podcast, 15-minute podcast?
I have.
Dithering?
I have.
Did you hear today's about Quibi?
Yes, I did.
Do you agree with them?
On which part of it? I don't get Quibi.
I think Quibi is
really don't.
A huge multi-billion-dollar boondoggle waste of time.
Right. Yeah, I don't get it.
It's the stupidest thing I said it when it was first announced last year. I said this is going to be a disaster, and it's turning out to be exactly that. Just a complete, utter disaster.
What, a 10-minute show about something or other? I don't get it.
15-minute episodes that you can only watch on your iPhone. They've changed that since, but that was the original pitch.
I don't get it. I really don't.
And the funniest thing was Jeffrey Katzenberger says, "I blame this entirely on the coronavirus."
Coronavirus, yeah.
You know, he's not going to blame it on the shitty quality of the pieces, the fact that they're only 10 minutes long, the fact that a lot of the stuff's boring, whatever it might be. Oh no, it's the coronavirus's fault.
Yeah,
Jesus, dude.
I do not get it.
No.
I really do not get it. And I don't know if that's age or what it is, but it just seems stupid to me.
It is.
So,
there
you go.
Wanted to make sure we were on the same page there. Folks,
yeah, well.
I've been Dr. Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinside.com. His podcast is The Dalrymple Report. It's up on the iTunes store. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Shawn.
Talk next week, buddy.
Bye.
See ya. All right. Okay. So now I tried this on. Excuse me. I tried this on last week's show, and for some reason it didn't work. So please be patient with me while I try to get it working on this week's show. So just a second. It actually came through in the audio file of last week's show and on the video, but it didn't get to you guys in the live version. So I want to make sure this is actually going to work. Okay, so we'll be back. Hang on, let me just make sure I got this right. That goes there, that goes there. So you guys should hear this audio as well as see it. We'll be right back. This is your Mac Life.
Hi, it's Vito from Prince George, British Columbia. I listen to Your Mac Life every week. I think I've been listening to Your Mac Life for 20 years. We're talking about 8 hours of entertainment a month on average. And yes, I do send in some money every month. I want to keep the show going. I think you can too. Help them out. Help out Shawn and Melissa. Send them some bucks every month. If you enjoy the show, why not? 2, 4, 5, 10, 12, 100. See you later.
Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life, starting point photography segment of Your Mac Life for Wednesday, May the 13th. Melissa's back in the room. How you doing, Melissa?
Good, thanks.
Do you ever shoot in black and white?
I don't know what you mean. I edit things to go to black and white, but I don't shoot things in black and white.
Interesting distinction. What is the distinction in your mind?
I don't know how to shoot things in black and white on my iPhone. And I only have an iPhone, so.
So the question is, there are two ways of doing black and white. You can actually shoot in black and white, or you can take a color picture and then turn it into a black and white afterwards. That's what you do. You shoot in color and then turn it into black and white. Mm-hmm. Do you know on your iPhone you can shoot in black and white?
No, I didn't.
You can go to your iPhone and in the, let me see. Is it, no, Siri, go away. In the upper left on your iPhone, you have those three little circles. If you tap on the three little circles, you get on the bottom shooting modes: original, vivid warm, vivid cool, dramatic warm, dramatic cool, mono, silvertone, and noir.
Well, I just use those in editing.
But you can shoot that. Now, the difference is, this is what we're going to talk about. The difference is shooting in black and white is different than editing in black and white. Mm-hmm. Because when you shoot in black and white, when as human beings, when we shoot in color, we look for color. Our eyes are naturally drawn to color. We look to see color in our shots. Those colors may not look good in black and white. So, for example, if you shot something that was white on a yellow background, might look beautiful in color, but in black and white, not so much. So when you went to change that photo, you shot it in color, and then when you went to change it into black and white, it wouldn't look very good. You may think it's a beautiful shot, but in black and white, because the white and the yellow are so similar when you turn it into black and white, it loses the effect of it. So what you do is you shoot in color. You actually turn your camera into a black and white camera, because that way you'd see that. You'd frame that shot up and you go, oh, that doesn't look nearly as good as I thought it was going to. When you shoot in black and white, you're looking less for color, obviously, and more for differences in colors. Starker, a bright blue versus a bright white. That would show up is dark and light in black and white. Shadows, textures look great in black and white. Shadows look great in black and white, obviously. The best thing that I always find that looks the best in black and white, and the easiest for a lot of beginners to learn how to shoot, is shoot in black and white in portraits. People's faces look amazing in black and white for whatever reason, and I'm sure there's some sort of scientific, psychological reason why this is true, but shooting people in portraits in black and white really looks good. It brings out something in their face that I've always said that not everyone is beautiful, not everyone is handsome, but everybody has something about them that's interesting. And it's up to you as the photographer to find that interesting thing. And for some reason, to me, it's easier to find that interesting thing when I'm looking at them in black and white versus in color. Because in color, you might get distracted by their eyes or by their lipstick or by their beautiful red hair or things like that. I'm going to show you some examples of black and white shots that are posted up on this website. This is on digitalphotographyschool.com's website. Let's pull this down here. Come on. Open up. Here's your new tab. So here's an example of a black and white shot. I'm going to cover up Melissa's face to show you guys this shot so she can see it too. Just a second. There's Melissa. There we go. So here's a shot that, sorry, let me put it on the screen for you guys. Here's a shot in black and white that I think, if shot in color, wouldn't be as stark and dramatic. I think for some reason, and I don't know what the actual colors are, but I think if her hair, you think her hair was blonde or brown? Brown. And the scarf around her neck would have been, probably had some sort of color to it. I think those things would distract from the light on her cheekbone in particular. That left cheekbone is just jumping out at you. You wouldn't see that nearly as well if this was in color. The other thing is, look where the light is coming from. Light becomes so much more important in black and white. You really got to, the thing that we talk about in photography all the time is see the light. You got to pay attention to light and where it's coming from, what kind of light it is, whether it's a harsh sunlight or a spotlight or a diffused cloud light. You really got to pay attention to light. And in black and white, it's even more important that you know where the light's coming from. So in this case, it looks like it's coming from behind the photographer over his left shoulder. You know what I mean? Or maybe even in front of the photographer, but from the left. And that lights up her face and gives that shadow on her left cheek, below her left cheek, that really makes that cheekbone really stand out. Same with the shadows underneath her lips and the shadows inside of her eyes. It's a great shot in black and white, which I don't think would be nearly as good if it was in color. Another shot of, this is a great example of somebody who you wouldn't normally consider. This is not a handsome man. But it's an interesting face. And that's what I'm talking about. Everybody, I think, has an interesting face. This face is the old line about, tells a million stories. He could be a millionaire for all we know, but we imagine certain things about him given the image. But again, look at the light. You can actually see the light in his eyes off to the left with a brighter spot on his forehead. Again, if this was in color, you probably wouldn't get the stubble on his chin coming out as well as it does. You wouldn't get the deep creases in his forehead. I mean, you could drive a truck through the creases in this guy's forehead. It's a beautiful shot. You probably wouldn't get the blemishes on his face or the creases around his eyes or the folds in that hoodie that he's wearing. That is, as a black and white shot, just a beautiful, beautiful shot. I love this image. Next up was a shot of a little kid, which I really liked. Oops. No. Go back. Stop. Come on. And this is a shot from a different angle too. Usually you try to take pictures that are at the same eye level as your subject. I always tell people to, when you're talking to kids, get down low to their eye level, or when you're shooting animals, get down to the animal's eye level. This, for whatever reason, I think works, if only because the way the child's head is tilted and the extreme aperture on this. What, Melissa? Aperture test. What do you think the aperture would be on this image?
I'm sorry, I can't. I don't know.
One of the things that you should do when you look at photos is try to guess at the settings. Try to say, I wonder if it's this or this. Because the depth of field, because there's so little in focus on this shot. Her shoulder, her left shoulder is out of focus. The side of her face is out of focus. Her eye is very, very sharp, and so is her nose. So it's probably an f4 shot.
Man thinks 2.8.
2.8, yeah, that probably is about right. So that's what you try to guess at. Because that way, when you think to yourself, I want to recreate that, I can go, oh, yeah, I remember that other shot I saw. It was probably about a 2.8. If her shoulder was in focus, that might be distracting. You might get drawn over. Or if this was in color, and say that was a yellow shawl or shirt she was wearing, your eyes would get distracted by that. But in black and white, you're going straight to her eyeball. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing you can see. You go straight to that eye. Because it's in black and white, there's nothing else distracting. The way the light comes this time from the right-hand side, and it's not a harsh light, but it's a very bright light, and the whole right side of her face is completely gone. Now, as human beings, we naturally will fill in that right side because we know faces are generally symmetrical. So it's not disturbing to us. Mm-hmm. We know there's an eye there. We know the rest of her nose is over there. We know there's an ear over there. So you fill that in. But taking this shot in this particular way was really, really a neat, interesting choice. This is an example of knowing the rules and then going ahead and breaking them. Mm. The rules say you should get down to her level and shoot this portrait, but the photographer got up higher. Well, the photographer was taller, whatever it might be, but the camera was up higher and made her lift her chin up and look directly into the camera. I love this shot. Mm-hmm. Next up is a shot of a kid. And this looks like it could be a very candid shot. Like this is a shot that, sorry, let me just do this. This looks like it could be a shot that was maybe not posed. Maybe it's a shot that the photographer just walked into or just saw the kids in here. And it's a little intimidating, which I don't think it would be if it was shot in color. Mm. Although it's a kid, I'm not scared of the kid. The image of it is he's got a sideways glance. He doesn't look like he's real happy to have the picture taken. Mm-hmm. There's his doppelganger of a shadow in the background. So there's kind of like two people in this shot, but there isn't. It's a great way of using the light on this image to get that shadow off in the distance, but also fairly close to him. It's like there's side by side, a good side and a bad side, a lit side and a not lit side. There's all kinds of things going on in this image. MacMan, the kid looks pissed. Yeah, he does. He does not look happy. He does not look happy about having this picture taken of him. Now here's an example of a shot that I don't think works in black and white. And again, remember, photography is all subjective. It's all what you feel is the truth. But this one, I don't see anything that tells me, sorry, I moved away from the microphone. Nothing in this image that tells me this has to be in black and white. Oh, this is better in black and white. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a great shot.
I think it's a nice shot. I think it's a welcome.
I think it would be beautiful in color, and it's beautiful in black and white.
I agree. I don't see the reason for this one to be in black and white like the other shots. You know, the other shots you saw the black and whiteness of it. This is a shot that could have been a color shot that was then turned into a black and white shot. So therefore, I don't necessarily like this particular image nearly as much as the other ones. So it shows that not all shots, even of people, need to be in black and white. This next one is an example of what photographers will often call a high key image or very bright light. It's black and white, but usually we see black and white, it's balanced. Same amount of black, same amount of white. This one's obviously much, much whiter than you usually expect. It's an effect that's usually very effectively done with kids, air quotes, innocent babies, that kind of stuff, because it smooths out any skin blemishes. It makes everything look very, very bright and very friendly. This is a great shot of the kids. Kids got a great smile. Obviously, blonde-haired kid that if this was in color, maybe the blonde hair, blue eyes, you assume, would distract from the shot. But I love this. So if you ever see it in your editing apps, called high key, and actually you can do it on the new iPhones. There's a high key option where it will make this white background, make everything very, very bright. It doesn't work for every shot, but it's an option for some shots. So something like that you could keep an eye out for to see if you have some shots that might look good in a high key format. Another example of a shot where the subject matter may not be the best looking person in the world, although I think this guy is a good looking guy. But the fact that this is in black and white, to me, this is, I don't know why I think this is a couple of fishermen sitting on a dock. They've just gotten home from a long day at sea, and now they're sitting around having a cigar and smoking and fixing a fishing net. That's just my perception of this image. But the fact that it's in black and white, he's looking directly into the camera, gives it a really, really strong emotional impact to it, where he sort of feels kind of world weary. He feels like he'll let you take his picture, but he doesn't care very much about it. That he and his friends are just sitting there. It could be a couple of old guys sitting on a park bench. I don't know. I just love the image. I love the hairs on his chin wouldn't come up, I don't think, nearly as well if this had been shot in color.
Mm-hmm.
This is another great shot. I really like this. Oh shoot! I like this image for its simplicity. This is a shot you can do with anybody in your family. It's an easy shot to take in black and white. The exact same pose, all of it. This is generally what's considered to be, and I don't want to be sexist about this, a woman's pose, with the way her fingers are underneath her on the side of her chin. A man's pose. I don't know why you'd say that, but it's whenever you look at posing guides, this shows up in the women's posing guide. Doesn't show up in a men's posing guide, so it's considered to be a woman's pose. A guy's pose would be more of a fist, as opposed to this gentle. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Her hand isn't in a fist. It's just very comfortably rested against the side of her face. But this is a shot you can take of anybody in your life. It's an easy shot to set up. It's an easy shot to do.
I actually have one.
Do you?
Like that, almost exactly the same.
Of you or
me?
Of you. Where's that at? Is it online?
Yep.
But you can post a link to it in the IRC chat room. And I can grab it from there. But yeah, black and white, that just shows that black and white photography is not difficult. It's not a hard thing to do. It's not something that you have to be intimidated by or scared of. You have cameras that will shoot in black and white, will do this for you, will do the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is the composition.
So MacMan mentioned sepia, and sometimes I look at sepia too, which is sort of, what would you say about that?
Sepia that's a good question. Sepia is dependent on, like black and white, dependent on the subject matter. Some sepia works, some doesn't. And there's different kinds of sepia too. We usually think of sepia as being yellow, but there's blue sepia and there's green sepia and there's other kinds of color toning that you can use that work. You can't use it in everything, but when it works, it really works really nicely.
Does.
I really enjoy seeing things in sepia. So try black and white. If you have an iPhone, look for those 3 little circles in your camera app, and look to the bottom of the screen where it says, I think I can. Yeah. Anyway, you'll find it, and see if you can shoot in black and white and see the difference, because you're looking for more textures, you're looking for more shadows, you're looking for more contrast than you are in straight up color when you shoot in color. So try a few shots in black and white and see what you come up with.
Yeah, Damon loves to shoot in black and white.
Yeah, a lot of photographers love shooting in black and white, and a lot of photographers shoot solely in black and white because that's the thing that they're most interested in, because it's seen by a lot of photographers as more of a challenge than shooting in color, because some people will think that shooting in color is cheating. I don't think it's cheating, but some people do think it's a little bit of cheating. Okay. Melissa has a question.
Oh, yes. We have a question from Scott. Where does Scott live again?
Scott Randall's in Arizona.
Scott Randall from Arizona. So Scott's question is, he's been wanting to use Twitter for a while.
Good for you, Scott.
And as he has discussed many times, he's worried about privacy, which is a very good thing to worry about. I agree. And he said, I really want to do this only to comment on certain articles and podcasts that don't offer, I guess, email addresses. Anyway, how can I use it safely? And I would appreciate any suggestions, says Scott.
That's a good question in general. I mean, how do you do anything safely on the internet?
I think it's always a good question.
Look what your dog's doing.
Where's his blankie?
The dog's pulling his blankie off the bed. Yeah, it's always a good idea to think of safety, no matter what you're doing, especially on the internet.
Too many people don't.
That's right. So the first thing you have to know, Scott, is the only way to be perfectly safe on the internet is not to use the internet. Okay, that's the first thing. But the second thing to know is that you can be as safe as the effort you're willing to put into it. Luckily for Twitter, it's not that hard to lock it down. When you set up a Twitter account, you can set up a Twitter account that is locked, prevented from other people seeing it. That nobody can sign up to your Twitter account unless you give permission. And that's one of the settings that you set in Twitter. Twitter will ask you for an email address that you need to verify that you are the person doing it. But you can use a Gmail address. You can use any an old AOL address, a Hotmail address, whatever throwaway email address you want to use, you can use for Twitter. So you'll be secure that way, and that you only give that one address to Twitter. Don't give it out to anybody else. Then you would lock down your Twitter account so nobody could sign up to follow you on Twitter unless you specifically give them permission. So what would happen is somebody would find your Twitter account, they'd hit the follow button, you would get an email that said, so-and-so wants to follow you on Twitter. Do you give them permission? And you go look at their Twitter feed and you think if they're legit or interesting, whatever it is, you either allow them or disallow them. That's it. So you can have a Twitter feed with 0 people following you. You don't have to let anybody follow you if you don't want to. And you can still comment on other people's tweets. I've always said that Twitter is as interesting as you make it, as the effort you're willing to put into it. Because your Twitter feed is based on the people you follow, if you've got a boring feed, you're following boring people. If you have a sad, depressing feed, it's because you're following sad, depressing people. You can have the happiest Twitter feed in the world. Follow cute puppies, follow cute kittens, follow good news. Just follow who you want to follow, who say the things that you want to read. You'll often hear people say that Twitter is a dumpster fire or a shit show, and it can be if you get involved in the dumpster fire, if you get involved in the shit show. But because you've chosen who you follow on Twitter, and because who you followed pops up in your Twitter feed, it's on you if you've got a bad Twitter feed. It's simple as that. So that's the easiest thing to do, Scott. Set up a Twitter feed, whatever Twitter name, whatever name you want to use. Use a email address that you don't care about from Gmail.
Call it a throwaway email.
A throwaway email address from Gmail or whatever it might be. And then just set up your account. And then you can follow whoever you want to follow. You can populate your feed with whoever you want to see on your Twitter feed. But you don't have to let anyone else follow you. That's probably the simplest and easiest way to do it.
I suppose then, Scott, if you get more comfortable, you might start to explore a little bit and open yourself up to, having people, following people. And then if you didn't feel comfortable, then you would shut it down.
That's right. And then the other thing you can do too is Twitter has two features, a mute and a block feature. If you use the block feature, that person can't communicate with you and they can't see your tweets. So
does that person know that you've blocked them though?
They will if they try to respond to you and go to your Twitter feed. So if they go to if I've blocked someone and they go to @Twitter/Shawn King, it will say Shawn King has blocked you. You can't read his feed. The problem with that is that all I have to do is sign into, or all I have to do is open up Twitter without logging in, and it'll show me the Twitter feed. So blocking is not that great. Muting, though, just doesn't block the person, but you don't see their tweets. And the best part is they don't know you can't see their tweets. So they can still tweet at you, but you'll never see a damn thing that they say. I use muting selectively. Our good friend Bill Reynolds down there in Portland, Oregon, is the most wonderful, sweet, kind guy, except for NFL Sundays, at which time Bill turns into a freaking jag-off. He tweets constantly about the Seattle Seahawks. He tweets like play-by-play of the Seahawks. And it's annoying as shit to have Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock. Suddenly my Twitter feed is full of Bill describing every frickin' play. Bill, if I was that interested, I'd be watching the game. So what I end up doing is Sunday mornings, as soon as I see the first tweet from Bill, I go, oh no, mute. I turn Bill on mute. And what happens is when you've muted somebody on Twitter, depending on your Twitter client, I use Twitterific, you'll see their name, but not their entire tweet. And so you'll just see their name is blanked out. And that way I remember, like late on Sunday evenings or Monday morning, I'll see Bill tweets, oh shit, I should unmute Bill. But the other great thing about it too is that better Twitter apps, for example, Twitterific and Tweetbot, allow you to mute words. So I can mute Super Bowl. I can mute Oscar. I can mute Academy Awards. Those kind of things. I can mute individual words. So when those things happen, I don't see them. I see the word, but I don't see the whole tweet. So if you don't want to get a spoiler for the Academy Awards, you just block out all instances of the word Oscar or whatever. Or if there's things that annoy me, like May the 4th, May the 4th be with you, I can block out all instances of May the 4th. I'm just opening up my...
It's good to know, isn't it?
And you can also block people, too. So if you don't ever want to see anything from Donald Trump, you can block the word Trump. And every tweet with the word Trump in it will not show up on your Twitter feed.
Right.
So you can manage Twitter. You can use Twitter in all kinds of different ways. You can mute people, you can block people, you can mute words, and you can block things like that. So keep that in mind. You can use Twitter in a fairly secure way. But again, if Twitter isn't good, if you don't like what you see in your Twitter feed, that's because you're following the wrong people. I find Twitter fascinating and interesting because I follow, I hope, fascinating, interesting people who have conversations that I'm interested in and people who say things that I'm interested in reading. So I think it's it for tonight's show. I want to say thanks as always to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com for being here. Thanks to Scott for the question. Thanks to Melissa for asking the question.
You're welcome.
Now the reverse of all this stuff is Melissa hates Twitter, don't you?
It's not that I hate it. It's just not something...
You don't see any use in Twitter.
Not really. But I don't see a lot of use in a lot of this stuff, so
Social media in general.
no, I don't.
You're less of a social. You're a non-social media person, that's for sure.
I wouldn't say non. I use it.
Yeah, but you don't like it.
That's debatable. I love sharing with my family and with my friends. Yeah, I like pictures and to be able to look back. I love my Instagram feed. I am looking at it now and I'm just loving looking at it. No, I wouldn't say I hate it.
MacMan says Twitter is a cesspool, in my opinion. That's what I'm saying.
Twitter is a cesspool,
it's
MacMan.
not a cesspool.
It's useless
it's
to
not.
me. And it's a platform for many bad things.
Sure, but it's also a platform for many good things, too.
Same with anything. It's
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
Yeah, but I think mostly it can be used in a destructive way. But
And
anyways,
it can also be used in a constructive way, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
It's technology. Technology is neither good nor bad.
Right.
It's how we use the technology.
well, there we go. It's up to the human. It's down to that level.
I want to say a big thanks. Hopefully you guys were tuned in live, got to see it. I want to say a big thanks to our good friend Vito Mori, who did that wonderful video. Thank you, Vito, for doing that. If anyone else wants to make a video like Vito's, please do so. Send it out to me, and we'll include it in the show maybe one of these days. Starting tonight and running until June 24th, the show after Father's Day on the 21st, the nice folks at nomadgoods.com is their website. Let me just check to make sure that's the right website. I wouldn't want to. Yes, Nomad Goods. They're the guys who make these, that's money flying off, make these really cool power base stations. This one powers 4 devices at once. 4 at once. Same time. 4. They make these, and they make these, I love these. These are the Nomad Universal Cable with Kevlar. This is a universal cable. It does USB, USB Mini, and a bunch of others. So nomadgoods.com is the website, and they are running a Father's Day sale, but they're also going to be giving us a $100 gift certificate to give away to a lucky listener on the June 24th show. So if you are a subscriber to Your Mac Life, you're automatically entered in the contest. Don't worry about it. You don't got to do a thing. If you're not a subscriber but still want to enter the contest, you can go to the website at yourmaclifeshow.com. At the top of the page, you'll be able to see a contest entry form. Fill that entry form out, and that'll be put into the drawing for the contest for the Nomad $100 gift certificate. Thanks very much to the guys at Nomad for doing this. I really appreciate it.
That's wonderful.
It is.
Very nice.
As always, I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
And you've been listening to Your Mac Life. Thank you folks very much for joining us this evening. See ya.
Bye.